Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Dr. Constancy, the university lecturer who takes pleasure in teaching people what she knows and in helping them overcome their fears. In today's video, I'll be showing you some research project writing tips. One of the most important requirements for graduating from the university is a research project. Usually, students are required to carry out a predetermined research within the constraints of their study. And from that, they write a full research project all under the supervision of academic staff, the lecturers, who are assigned to them during the period of the research. These lecturers or academic staff are called supervisors. Research project writing process could be very intimidating if you have not done it before, but going through the tips in this video would help you. Normally, research project writing is guided by a format and it varies from one educational institution to another. However, the basic elements are essentially the same. A typical final year project should consist of three main parts: the preliminary pages, the main body which is divided into chapters, and the supplementary pages. The preliminary pages come before chapter 1 of every project. They include elements such as cover page, title page, abstract, declaration, certification, acknowledgement, dedication, table of contents, list of tables, list of figures, and list of abbreviations. Some schools and departments also add list of appendices. Now, what you should know about the cover page is that it is written in uppercase letters and it should contain the title of your research work, your full name, and your submission date. However, the title page should contain more information. It should contain the title of the research work, your full name, registration number or matriculation number, degree program with the statement on what your project should fulfill, and submission date. The next one is the abstract. The abstract is a short summary of your research project. It is often presented immediately after the title page. At undergraduate level, an abstract is usually about 250 to 300 words long. It should state briefly the purpose of your research, the methodology, the principal results, major conclusions, and recommendations. The things that your abstract should not contain are references or citations and abbreviations. Lastly, your abstract should be written only after completing the other parts of your project report. The declaration page. Here you have to attest the originality and authenticity of your project report. This is like an affidavit. In declaring that your project work is original, it has to be done with your full name, matriculation number, and date of submission. This page must be signed by you, the student. Every school has a format for this page. It is important that you follow your school's format. The certification page. This is where your supervisor, the head of department, dean of faculty, and your external examiner will confirm that you have met the requirements to be awarded the degree. The next one is the dedication page. This page is used to dedicate your research work to those who supported you during your studies. These people could be your parents or your sponsors. Kindly remember to keep it brief and avoid the use of more than one paragraph. Numbers, charts, or photographs must be avoided here. If you want to recognize and acknowledge more people, you can do that in the acknowledgement page. The acknowledgement page is where you have the opportunity to express your gratitude to people who directly or indirectly assisted you in the development of your project. You can address your supervisor, your lecturers, sources of funding, friends, family, and sponsors for their moral and financial support. The next one is the table of contents. Your table of contents should serve as a compass that will provide a quick guide to your project write-up. It is normally arranged following a particular sequence, usually from the first to the last page of your project. It is advisable that your table of contents should be edited at the end of your project so that every part of your work could be captured. The next one are the list of tables, figures, appendices, and abbreviations. The list of tables, figures, and the rest of them are there to aid readers in locating tables, figures, appendices, abbreviations, and symbols. Therefore, they should be well numbered, and in the main contents, they should be well labeled. Please note that list of tables section should consist of list of the tables used in your report, indicating table number, its title, and page number. Then list of figures section should consist of list of the figures or illustrations such as diagrams, photographs, drawings, graphs, charts and maps used in your report, indicating figure number, its title and page number. After the preliminary pages, the next things that follow are the chapters of your project. In your project, you should have Chapter 1, the introduction, Chapter 2, the literature review, Chapter 3, materials and methods, Chapter 4, results, and Chapter 5, discussion, conclusion, and recommendations. Like I mentioned earlier, the format could vary from one school to another, but the basic elements are essentially the same. Now the Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is also called the introduction. This should be between a minimum of 2 pages and a maximum of 3 pages. It should consist of the background of the study, statement of the problem, justification of the study, aim and objectives of the study. Kindly note that your school's or department's format might be different from this. This chapter has to provide the readers with the background information that is needed to understand your study. It should also provide the readers with the reasons you conducted your experiments and answer the question, what problem was studied? Normally, the reason for carrying out a study is to fill a gap in the knowledge or to answer a previously unanswered question. The last thing you have to include at the end of your introduction is a clear and exact statement of your study aim and objectives. In your introduction, it is also important that your citations are relevant and current. The next one is Chapter 2, which is the literature review. A literature review is a summary of studies related to a particular area of research. It identifies and summarizes all the relevant research conducted on a particular topic. So here you have to ensure that your literature review is focused. You have to choose a limited number of studies that are central to your topic, instead of trying to collect a wide range of studies that might not be closely connected. Reviewing literature will help you evaluate past research, identify experts, identify key questions, and determine methodologies used in past studies. Chapter 3 is the materials and methods. In this chapter, you have to provide the readers with all the details of how you conducted your study. You have to also use subheadings to separate different methodologies. It is necessary that you describe what you did in the past tense. Also remember to describe new methods in enough detail so that another researcher could reproduce your experiment. Another important thing to do in this chapter is to describe established methods briefly and cite a reference where readers could find more details. Finally, you have to state statistical tests and parameters here. In Chapter 4, you have to simply state what you found. You do not have to interpret the results or discuss their implications here. What you need to do is to use subheadings to separate the results of different experiments. Also ensure that your results are presented in a logical order and use the past tense to describe them. Although you have to refer to figures and tables in the present tense. In this chapter, you must avoid duplicating data among figures, tables, and texts. You can use the text to summarize what the reader will find in the table or figure. Reading data in a table is usually much easier than in the text. Lastly, make sure that the data are correct by checking and rechecking numerical data, especially in the process of typing. This is best done by also having a friend read out the data and you checking it. It should be done a few times to avoid errors. The last one is Chapter 5, which is the discussion, conclusion, and recommendations. Most of the things you write in this chapter should be an interpretation of your results. You have to compare your results with those from other studies. If they are not consistent, then you have to discuss possible reasons for the difference. If there are inconclusive results, you have to mention and explain them as best as you can. You may also suggest additional experiments that are needed to clarify your results. Also in this chapter, you can briefly discuss the limitations of your study. This will make a positive impression of your project because it makes it clear that you have an in-depth understanding of your study and can think objectively of your research. Another thing that is important, which you have to do, is to discuss what your results may mean to the general public. Also remember to state how your results extend the reports of previous studies and suggest future studies that need to be carried out if your findings are preliminary. Recommendations section highlights suggestions and recommendations for further improvements. Here you have to remember that in making your recommendations, you must show how your results support them. A well thought out set of recommendations makes it more likely that people will take your recommendations seriously. Ideally, you should be able to make a formal recommendation regarding the alternative that is best supported by your study. Now, the references. There are different reference styles, so you have to consult to know the acceptable format in your institution, as references have an important role in your project. Every statement of facts or description of previous findings requires a supporting reference. You have to reference the works of others to justify claims, establish the origin of ideas, provide a context for your work, and to show that there are other works similar to yours. Kindly stay tuned to watch my next videos. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments and please subscribe to my channel.